In the latest novel by Toronto author Terry Fallis, a young man embarks on a whirlwind career in professional golf, despite the fact that he actually hates the game. Fallis read from his novel Albatross at Palatine Hills Estate Winery as part of the Niagara Public Library's Wine and Words reading series.
His golfing prowess is the Albatross, although that is his body in a way. So yeah, he is just gifted, congenitally gifted as a golfer, just because of the sheer dimensions of his body. But he's so good at it naturally that if he practices, he gets worse. So he is just this empty vessel out on the golf course.
As a reader of this novel, I found myself looking up the professor's name to see if, hey, maybe does this guy really exist?
Right. Yeah, I totally invented the theory that sits at the center of this novel. But it's sort of rooted in an idea I've always had growing up as a kid. I remember thinking, well, look, I'm really skinny. Surely there's a sport that I would be good at because I have a body like this. I never really found it, but maybe I would have been a world champion high-lie player if I was able to play that sport. So it was just an idea that I decided to try and concoct some scientific foundation for in the novel. So I hope when people read it, it may seem like a far-fetched theory. I hope it seems less far-fetched when you read the science I've created around it.
Fallis is a repeat Wine and Words guest and one of the more popular authors in the series.
I always love coming down to this region, and they've been very good to me. And these events are terrific. It's a chance. I mean, not all writers love this side of the writing game, but I actually quite like it. To me, it's a reward for having been sequestered in isolation for 8 months as you write the darn thing. I get to go outside and meet people and talk to them, and so I quite like this. And I think it's an important part of the writerly life, because if we don't talk about the novel and promote it and read from it and encourage people to try it, we won't sell enough books to get a chance to write the next novel. So it's a big part of a writer's life, or it ought to be if it isn't.
You showed up tonight prepared with a PowerPoint. I don't see that with a lot of authors who come and do these speeches. So you've really put a lot into this tonight.
Well, I do a bit of a presentation on all my novels, and I do that so that the audience doesn't have to look at me for the whole time. They can be focused elsewhere. But I try and tell a story, the story behind the novel, and why I've written about the things that I write about. So I try and connect my own life to pieces of the novel. Without it, I mean, the novels are not autobiographical, but I know the worlds I write about.
The two-time winner of the Stephen Leacock Medal for Humor spent years working for the Liberal Party in both Ottawa and Toronto. The source asked him how his current role as a consultant for government and business jibes with his humor writing.
It's hard. When my first novel came out and it seemed to do so well, many of my clients said, "Oh, I had no idea you were funny." So I'm not sure what that meant, but they are two different worlds. Occasionally they overlap. I might have a client who has read my novels, or sometimes I might have a client because they read a novel, which is a nice fortuitous overlap. But they're quite different. I'm lucky enough that I have a very patient and supportive co-founder of the firm. He owns it all now, but working 4 days a week allows me to use at least 1 day a week, usually for promotion, events like this. It's not so much for writing. That tends to be a weekend endeavor. But I can't imagine not having the writing side of my life now that it's here.
The next event in the series is sold out. However, tickets are still available for the February 12th event at the Hare Wine Company. Samra Zafar will be there that night reading from her new memoir, The Good Wife. For information on Wine and Words and tickets, visit NOTL Public Library.org. Reporting in Niagara on the Lake for The Source, I'm Mike Balsom.